Have you ever been canceled?
No, I guess technically, I'm like, I should not bring this up.
Do you think the Western industry is trying to keep them out of these spaces?
Interesting question.
You have to
Preach.
be a very mature person emotionally to be able to accept that other people don't like the same things that you do, and that's a beautiful thing.
A grown man can face paint, throw a massive party, get upset, throw his chips, but let me do that about Jimin, and all of a sudden it's a problem.
Bro, Jimin is your bias, obviously.
Yes.
Okay, who's your bias record? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fandom Culture. My name is Brooke Morrison. I am a digital host based out of LA, and of course, you probably know me from my YouTube channel at Brooke Morrison, which is my full name if you want to find me there, and on Instagram at I am Brooke Morrison. This is a place for fans of fans, for people who work in the music industry, and I happen to be all of those. You know what I mean? And my guest today is somebody that I am so excited about. You have absolutely no idea, and I've been trying to get him on for like a month or two now. Tetris, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Tetris Kelly, and I love your intro, by the way. Just because it's so hard. I feel like in this industry sometimes you feel bad when you are such a fanboy, but it actually is such a tool, a great tool, because we genuinely care, and there's so many times that, people don't care as much as they should. So to be a fanboy and to have this podcast and everything that kind of allows that to happen, I think that's a beautiful thing. Thanks for having me.
But that's why you mean the world to me. I was just telling Blatz this before you got here. Like, I'm actually a little nervous to talk to you because you have done so much. You shut up. You have done so much in the industry, and interviewing is hard. Okay, and I feel like you're somebody who has mastered that. So
my God.
Tell people a little bit about what you do for a living.
Well, I am an entertainment news host, so right now I work for the brand Billboard. So it's all about the charts, the Hot 100, the Billboard 200.
Yeah.
And working for Billboard has been the most perfect marriage for me as far as being a fanboy and loving music so much. And I remember my first interview with them. I was like, listen, I'm the guy for this job because when I was in middle school, I would literally be waking up to check the Billboard charts.
Right.
I would be like, how many copies did Britney sell this week? How many copies did NSYNC sell? Oh, we did 2.4 million. We broke the record.
Yes.
So it was just like, I loved the charts for so long. So as an adult, to interview for them was like, please let me get this job. And luckily it worked out. I've been with them, I guess, I want to say 5 or 6 years now. I should know, but around that amount of time. And yeah, it's a great company. I get to do awesome red carpet stuff and in-studio stuff. My daily job is more of the news stuff, so we do our kind of daily news, which now we're doing a live show.
I've seen that. It's very cute. It looks good.
It's new. New. But it's fun because it creates more, whereas we used to be doing these bite-sized package of news videos. Now we get to have conversations about it. So versus just delivering you the news, we get to kind of talk about it, and which is cool because I'm a very opinionated guy. So I like to do that.
Bro, let's talk about the terms stan and fanboy, which you've already described yourself as. And I love that because I will call myself a stan and I will call myself a fangirl. I will call myself a fan. I am a K-pop fan. But for some reason, especially working in the music industry, which I didn't realize this was a thing until I got back into K-pop because I was in it back in 2009, came out of it, but I've been a fan my entire life. The same way that you loved Billboard. I would watch MTV and VH1 and all these other things growing up. But there's a lot of stigma around the terms stan, fanboy, fan in general, especially K-pop fan. And then on top of that, you're also a quote-unquote Disney adult.
I am a huge Disney adult.
Which, again, is another thing. But do you face that kind of, judgment from other people in the industry?
Absolutely. I feel like I get that judgment sometimes. I feel like in professional settings, there's times that I may have gotten a job or not gotten a job because of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what's interesting to me, you're going to make me go deep here, girl.
Please do.
But
Please do.
It brings me even to the Super Bowl of it all, right? That's okay. A grown man can face paint, throw a massive party, get upset, throw his chips, debate about whoever had the most touchdowns or whatever the records are.
Yes.
And it's okay. They can be passionate, wear jerseys, and go crazy about it.
Right.
But let me do that about Jimin, and all of a sudden it's a problem.
Bro.
Let me put Minnie Mouse ears on, and all of a sudden it's a problem. I'm
Right.
sorry, I'm just as passionate about pop culture or
Right.
music or theme parks as that guy is passionate about his football team. Let me live.
I've been seeing those TikToks, and every time I see it, I'm like, you're right. I'm like staring at my phone like, yes, like that. Oh, it makes me angry. But of course, like as a female as well, it gets even worse. It's so crazy how, something that makes you so happy can come across as something childish or something that's not taken as seriously to people that obviously are looking at us for either jobs or, as a friend or something like that, and very real things. But then their opinion of you changes when they realize those things.
And that's so funny you said that about, being a woman, because I just produced this package for Billboard called Billboard Explains the Magic of Boy Bands.
Oh, hell
so I
yeah.
had to go deep in research about boy bands and the history of it and all this stuff. And I read this incredible article that broke down about how boy bands aren't quote unquote respected because their fan base is majority women. And I was mind blown, reading about it, because I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
No.
It's it's okay because the way that they get passionate and the way that the Army's passionate and knows everything and all the stats, that's the same thing that young boys are doing about football or basketball.
1000%.
It's the exact same thing.
Yes.
And as you have proven, we can then turn those skills into our career.
Right,
If you
of
do
course.
it right, because that's organization, that's social media, that's, that's promotion, that's all these things, marketing that you can then take into your adult life and have a great career.
Right.
And so, people got to lay off of fanboys.
They do. I think it's really sad that people have to hide it. I think that's the biggest thing. Oh, let me tell you a story.
Tell me.
Yeah. So there's even, and I would love to get your opinion on this too, because obviously as K-pop fans, we take it very seriously as far as in art form goes. It's something that makes us happy. It's something that makes us passionate. We love the artists behind it. I am a huge RM fan because I think the guy is amazing. Just as a human being.
He's so dope.
So dope. Same thing with Suga and everything. But I think behind the scenes, there's always this, even within the K-pop industry, judgment on themselves because they're judged from the outside world.
Yeah.
And I had this conversation with somebody who works in the K industry. He's not an idol, but he is an artist. And one day we're driving in my car, whatever. He had come for 88 Rising, and we're just all hanging out, and his friends in the back and my friends, we're all just hanging out. And he turned to me because I had my K-pop playlist on because I always do, and that's what I do, and that's what I like. And he was like, "So why, as an American, do you like K-pop?" And it shocked me because I was like, he's a K artist. So it's kind of asking why do you like our music? Why do you like us? And I was like, well, it's good music. I was like, first of all, it's good music. I was like, second of all, this kind of has changed my life in a very big and a very substantial way, in a very positive way.
Nice.
And it came right after my mom passed away and everything. And in my mind, I'm like, why explain? Why do I have to explain why I like music? Why do I have to explain why I
Just because the type of music.
it's the type of it. And I think that there's this kind of shame within it as well, where, they'll even be like, well, I do K-pop, but I don't like, I like Western music and, these things. And it's shocking, to this day, I still think about that conversation. I'm like, why wouldn't I like your music?
No, and I feel like that is a part of K-pop, but just a part of even pop in general. It reminds me, Justin Bieber, we were talking about him earlier.
Oh,
I remember when he was nominated for a Grammy for Best Pop album, and he was like, no, I don't want to be nominated in that. I want to be nominated in R&B.
Right.
And it's
yes.
the people are embarrassed about being associated with pop when it's okay to make pop music. And it's okay to love pop music.
Right.
I love genuine, straightforward pop. One of my favorite writers is Meghan Trainor because she writes such in-your-face pop music. Taylor Swift, and that's why I fell in love with BTS, to be honest, is how straightforward their pop has become and how big and bombastic and bigger than life the songs are.
Right.
And I just think that it's okay, and it makes me upset to hear someone say that to you, because it just blows my mind that people don't respect pop after all these years.
Right.
And by the way, an incredible talent to create a pop song. I'm not saying that R&B or hip hop, it doesn't take talent, because I don't compare genres. Right. But the talent it takes to write a song that is big and universal and touches multiple audiences and is able to be played everywhere and at any event. I think that is a talent.
Right.
Everybody can't do that, or there'll be number one songs all over the place.
1,000%. I've always said this, and I've always defended it that way, because I've also transitioned from working in hip hop radio to then working in rhythmic to then working in pop. And a lot of my friends, I would go back and forth between like what they take seriously and what they don't. And I'm in different spaces, so I see all of it and I hear all of it. And my number one defense has always been, why would you not want to write a pop song? Why would you not want to have a number one song that goes internationally viral? And why would you not want that kind of money? Like, what is wrong with pop music that you think it's not as serious? If something is universal, why is it not taken as seriously?
Like, make it make
sense.
It's
so strange.
I touched more people with my art.
Everyone around the world. People around the world, like you, Ariana Grande. Everybody in Asia knows Ariana Grande. They know Rihanna. They know people, but they know them from their pop songs. They know them from the things that go number one on the radio, and they're everywhere. And things that are big and bold and in your face and everything. Those are the songs that everyone knows.
No, gosh, no, and just you, I'm like getting emotional because I was just thinking about like something you said about how these songs are big and how they impact. And you just to touch on what you said a few minutes back, you said K-pop became big for you after your mom passed.
Yeah, right.
And that's something that touched me because my mom passed in 2013. And sometimes music, Disney, those things help us escape. They help us to feel happiness in those places. So that was really beautiful. I wanted to touch on that because even with Disney, growing up, my mom would take me to Disney all the time. And that's my happy place, and I feel comfortable there. Right. I feel at home there. I feel nostalgia there. Yes. So it's just like, I think that's a beautiful thing that pop music is able to do, that Disney is able to do. It's able to put you in a happy place. And there's just like so much talent and so much incredible energy in that, and it deserves to be respected.
1,000%. And I like Disney reminds me of my mom specifically, and so I think that's growing up in St. Louis, Missouri, like we don't got Disney out there, so like unless you're able to fly and you have a lot of money, like it's expensive.
It's a big vacation.
It's you're crying.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
You're
I just
crying.
I'm
sorry.
But seriously though, even growing up, it's like I was in Georgia, which is close enough to Florida, but it still was a big deal.
Huge.
To take your family and the hotels and the money for the tickets. Of course, as a little kid, you're not thinking about how much your family's spending on that. Right. But it's a big deal. And by the way, I just started my first Disney trolls. So I was skating by on TikTok for a while, which is all positive energy.
Right.
And now all of a sudden I got the people that hate the Disney adults in my comments, and it's hilarious. Luckily I don't get like my feelings hurt about things. But it's just like, they're just like, oh, he's too grown to do this. And like, I can't believe this guy has the right to vote. And it's like.
Has the right to vote? How did we get
they
from one
want to
thing
take
to
my
another?
rights of voting because I go to Disney.
That's okay. First of all, I really think people like that. I don't want you to cry.
I'm fine. It was good. It's good. It's happy.
It is. You're right. But the people, I think, it's repression. I really think it is. Or like they just never understood Disney or never had an emotional attachment to it the way that we do. So I see both sides of things and I understand that. But, again, to that point, letting people be able to love what they love is I think a very, unfortunately, mature feeling. You have to be.
Preach.
You have to be a very mature person emotionally to be able to accept that other people don't like the same things that you do. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
So for that, I don't pass judgment on people like that who feel that way. Right. Like what you like. It's the same way that I don't like country music, but I'm from Missouri. You know what I mean? It's like, that's okay. And that's
girl,
fine.
I got to get you on some Florida-Georgia line.
I don't know if I want it. I don't know. But so things like that, and especially I think it prepared me as well to also be okay with the K-pop space. And because I have a reaction channel, right? Like I know that. And not only do you get hate from people outside of it, and especially in the industry, which we're both a part of, and again, that can affect your ability to get jobs, your ability to be taken seriously, but also it can hurt. It can hurt a lot of the time whenever you do post something about what you love. And then all of a sudden you have somebody coming in here criticizing it or, feeling like they need to pass judgment. It's still hurtful and that still sucks. Have you ever been canceled?
No, I guess. Technically, I'm like, I should not bring this up. I should not bring this up, but it's fine because we have healed, we have grown from this.
Yes.
But Army came for me really tough a few years back, and it was the most innocent joke. I was doing a news video for Billboard, and I thought it was cute, but I was basically saying like, oh my God, BTS is so talented. I wish I could be in BTS.
Right.
And then I was like, maybe I can dance and lip sync. And I like started like dancing and pretending to like lip sync to BTS, saying like for me to join them, I would just be pretending.
Yeah, right.
And but
right.
in the side. And they were like, oh my God, my DMs, my ads, my everything was blowing up because everybody's like, he's accusing the boys of lip syncing. He doesn't take their talent seriously. And it's like, guys, I listen to them. I go to their concerts. I wasn't as big of a fan then as I am now. It's grown more and more. Right. But I was just like, guys, I promise you I did not mean anything by it. But like, oh my God, I got hate messages for weeks after that.
I as soon as you said that phrase, especially with the word lip sync in it, I knew exactly what that was going
now
to
I always am very
incur.
careful. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want them to take something the wrong way.
Yo, here's the thing. I love ARMY. I love them. And that's the thing is like, they are so passionate. I 1000% am an ARMY and I identify
100%.
myself as an ARMY. My room is full of BTS stuff.
Yes.
I spend a lot of my money on them. Okay?
So much of my money goes
and
to their merch now.
I'm 1000% okay with that. You know what I mean? I understand why they're so defensive. And that's like a learning curve. Because of course, like when you first get into them, you're like, oh my God, all of this is so amazing. This is so great. Everybody's so loving. Everything's so, you know, like it's big, it's bold, it's colorful. It's like, I want to know everything. I want all the albums. I want the photo cards. I want to start doing all this.
I know that
and it's like a very like, oh my God, this is so cool type feeling. And then moments like that do come. And I think it's like a testament to how big of a fan you are of the guys if you can learn from those kind of things and move forward. And I think that's so good that you became like a bigger fan even after that kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. No, it didn't stop me because I love the boys so much. And then like even recently, every once in a while I'll do something that'll get a couple hate things. Not as bad as that. But then I'm always like, guys, y'all know me at this point. I'm genuine. Don't come for me. And then even the people that don't like people that have biases, I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm sorry. When I was a kid, it was okay to have a favorite member of NSYNC. It was okay to have a favorite member of Backstreet Boys. That doesn't mean you like the group less.
I was a Lance girl, and obviously that didn't turn out well.
Okay, that was okay.
But you know,
I was JC.
Him.
I was hardcore JC.
I loved it. He was great. Okay, but
and Lance still is great.
Right,
He's hilarious.
Still is great. Still is great. Not
just
for
not
me,
for not.
And that's okay. And that's okay. You know, like we love that. But yeah, the same thing. I love the concept of a bias and a bias wrecker and everything. And I definitely will identify them in like every group that I stand. Yeah. So I'm 1000% okay with that. But there are definitely moments where I think like there's many teachable moments in being like somebody who's on screen. And somebody who is a creator and also happens to be a fan in that way. And I'm sure you get the same thing from Disney people too. You know, like, I actually work for Disney. So we get a lot of the comments about, the soundtracks and, things like that where you just wouldn't think it would upset someone. Yeah. And it does. And then you just have to take it with a grain of salt and move forward. Because I've definitely had my moments as well with ARMY and honestly, like, a few other fandoms just with videos. If you say certain things, 100%. You don't know how it could be taken or whatever. But it's something that I don't think a lot of people are prepared for, being somebody who works in the industry and then wants to speak on them and wants to show their love. But sometimes you just don't know what's going to strike a chord. You don't
know. But it ends up working out for the better because, like, for instance, the thing I love about ARMY, the thing I love about Disney is the community feeling, right? Right. And if you have a community, there's going to be arguments within it. Definitely. That's like family. You fight with family. So I understand that concept. But because of the community, because of the commonality of sharing a genuine, love for something, I think that helps when you're in the professional setting to know what the fans, what they want. Yes. To go back to like being a fandom, it's like when I'm in an interview, I'm thinking about like stuff that fans think about. And I think that that's something that isn't respected a lot of times when it comes to hosts or radio personalities and stuff. It's like there's so many times these people have to be prepped so much for an interview. And I have to be prepped sometimes. I don't know everybody in the world, but it always blows my mind sometimes when people are like, oh, Tetris, you don't need to be prepped and do your research on this artist. I'm like, no, I've been following that artist my whole life. Or I listened to the album last week, And I think artists can understand that and they can feel that. And it gives them a layer of comfortability when they're talking to you. Yes. I had to do this TikTok live with Tay Money the other day. She's this huge TikTok sounds artist. And I remember at the end of the interview, she was just like, thank you. And I was like, what? And she's like, your questions were just genuine and I can tell you cared. Yeah. And it's just like, that sucks that artists get interviewed so often and they don't feel like the host or the person interviewing them cares. Right. And that's our job.
Because a lot of people who get into hosting want to be a star first. and they're a fan second or even third or fourth. And that's unfortunate because I will say, even I get comments on YouTube sometimes where they're like, wow, like the questions, like, thank you so much for asking these kind of things. And you sound like you actually like them. And I'm like, why would I not like them? You know, like it's music. It's beautiful. Like even if I don't sit and listen to certain albums, you know, back to back or, you know, every single day or something, it's still so cool that this person is making a living their dreams and their passions and making music. And like, how are you not a fan of that in general?
Yeah.
Like that makes me a fan.
And just care. It just takes the smallest amount of care to listen to an artist's project or dig through their Twitter for a while just to see what their fans are excited about, what they're excited about, so you can have a genuine conversation.
Exactly.
That's all that, I mean, hey, we think it sounds easy, but apparently nobody does it.
Right. That's what I mean, though. It's like, how are we getting these kind of reactions? Because, like, I thought that was normal, but apparently it's not. You learn that as time goes on, like, as somebody who works in music and somebody who works on red carpets and stuff, you're like, wow, okay, so I care. The 4 people next to me apparently didn't, and that's strange, you know, like weird. But,
and people are like, they ask the same questions in, like, the classic, how are you feeling?
Who do you want to collab with?
Who do you want to collab with? How are you feeling? What's coming up next?
Wait, you know what? Okay, I will say though, sometimes I do want to know if they want to collab with somebody.
No, the collab question.
I do want to ask that.
No, the collab question isn't always bad. I just feel like if it can't be every interview, and then make it genuine. Do they want are they working on something right now that they're excited about that you're ignoring because you just want to get a name to say, oh, this K-pop group wants to collab with a American artist.
That's the headline, though. That's what they want is the headline. Obviously, like they want to run that on whatever publication and then get the attention of, they think, American fans, because the Western fans, they think, are only going to pay attention to the Western name.
What a just ancient way of thinking now.
Right.
There's so many K-pop American fans that do not care if they collab with another Western artist.
Not at all.
Like, it's just like, I mean, of course, you were at SoFi just as much as I was for the BTS concert. And it was so beautiful just to see all the army out there, just like so many ages and races. And it was just incredible. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, what an amazing fan base that these guys have grown and put together.
They were passing out stuff. Like, guys, I got candy. I got photo cards. Like, I was like, I knew I had heard about it, but I hadn't experienced it until SoFi. And it was just such a beautiful moment. And it was it was everything that I wanted it to be, but it was also more because I felt so safe.
Oh,
and it just, we just get so much judgment from like inside of the industry and what we do. It's nice to like relax and kind of realize that this is like a real life thing that's bigger than anything that we could ever have experienced over here. I thought those concerts were the best I've ever been to in my life.
Ugh.
And it had a lot to do with just the culture of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much, because I've seen I'm a huge Billie Eilish fan. I'm a huge Paramore fan. I went to see Fall Out Boy like 5 times, you know, things like that. So I've always been a fangirl in that way. But these were the best shows I've ever been to.
Oh yeah, no,
that says
absolutely.
a lot about it.
I walked away from that concert and I remember calling my best friend and I was like, I can't believe it. I was like, I was just smiling and dancing the whole time because it was just good. I knew
all the songs. Yeah. I was dancing. It was crazy to see them. I vlogged both nights that I went to. Sorry, now I'm like getting like, let me stop. Okay.
No, you can live your best life. Be yourself, girl, always.
Thank you. What got you into K-pop?
Well, the funny part is, so I remember, this used to get me in trouble too. Before I was Army, I was a Blink.
Okay.
And I don't say was a Blink, I am a Blink. And they started my love for K-pop. And I think if you know me, my favorite artist of all time, period, is Britney Spears.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm obsessive about my Britney.
Okay.
And because of Britney and my love for her, I love just like a true pop star, like Queen, that's gonna give me choreography, that's gonna give me high, like all crazy videos, like outfits, all of that. And to see everybody in Blackpink be able to just deliver and give me the sass and give me like the stage presence and the choreography that those girls give, I was obsessed.
Of course.
And so
I felt the same way.
I was, everything. And then I remember, the moment that changed me, the song that changed me was Kill This Love.
Of course.
I hadn't felt that way since I was like in middle school watching Britney and being like, with my VHS being like, I'm going to learn the Oops, I Did It Again choreography. That's how I felt about Kill This Love. I remember like putting YouTube on my TV and like rewinding and playing it and learning like all the choreography because I was like, I just love these girls so much. And I remember seeing them at Coachella and then seeing them at their first LA show. And I just was obsessive about Blackpink. Right. So they really kind of started my love of K-pop. I got to throw some love to G-Dragon as well.
Okay.
Because one of my closest friends, Nami, she took me to a G-Dragon concert. Nice. And I didn't know much about him. I knew like a song or two, but I didn't know much. And I remember going to that show and being like, wow. Right. Like the talent, the stage production, like everything about it was so good. And so that kind of started. BTS specifically, I had to cover so much for work.
Yes. Okay.
So I would just learn about them through work. Right. I was talking about them daily. And, there would be songs. I'm like, okay, I like this song. But I always tell everybody, I'm completely honest, the songs that started hitting me were like right after, I would say like On was like the one that was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Like On was when I was like, these boys are really in their pocket now. Right. They're like getting it, right? Yeah. And then Dynamite changed me.
Really? Dynamite?
Dynamite changed me.
Not even Black Swan?
It goes back. No, and see, then I went back. Okay. I did the reverse, right? Okay, yeah. Then I started digging more. Like, what did I miss? Right. That's how I felt. I did because I felt like I knew surface level BTS because of work, but hadn't dug deep into like the album tracks and stuff, right? So once Dynamite changed me, and I was like, this is one of the best pop songs ever created.
Right.
And again, back to earlier, I just love a perfectly crafted pop song. Same. It's literally my favorite thing ever. And Dynamite is so good that it's ridiculous. And I was like, crap. So then I started like going back and like listening to all the BTS albums and everything. And everything from that on, now I'm in the point where I digest it instantly.
Right.
So now it's like the B album I knew front to back right away. Like, and of course, Permission to Dance, like everything is now just, wow. Like, never been done before. Greatest thing ever.
Oh my God.
It's just like, but I didn't, it's so funny because it's like, even at work, they saw this transition in me where now it's like, I know everything before it's happening and I'm obsessive and like, I know the lyrics and I know the sound clips that I want to use. And I'm so specific about even pictures. I'm like, use this picture of Jimin, use this picture of J-Hope. Oh, no, if we're cutting the video, make sure you use this part of the thing. And because I just love it so much now. I just love them. And I think, this is the other thing that, I'm sorry, now I'm going into my BTS spiral.
Please do. This is the point.
But the other thing that made me fall in love with them specifically too was when I fell in love with Dynamite, I was so obsessed about it that I started watching all the performances.
Right.
And through watching like so many different performances of Dynamite, because they perform it everywhere, as you know, they were at every show, every thing. That's when I start seeing more of their personalities and more of like, oh,
that's what gets you.
Look how Jin always does this. Look at the chemistry between V and this. Like, and I would notice all these, and I'm like, wow, they're so great. Yeah. And I was just like, I like them all. And I was like, everybody's just so awesome. And then all
of them.
Yeah, everybody, every single one.
That's so rare.
It's like they can obviously, again, we have our bias and our bias records.
Right.
But there's moments where everybody's your fave.
Right.
I think
1,000%.
Like, I even remember like watching the Permission to Dance video and like the back and forth between Suga and J-Hope. I was like, like that's the moment that like put me in my grave watching the Permission to Dance video. And I was like shook. And it's just like, I love that about them, that they all are giving us moments, giving us personality, giving us raw. It's just, they're great. So that's my rant. End of rant.
Okay, but, so Blackpink bias, who?
Ooh, that's hard, but I gotta go with my girl Lisa.
Okay. I
gotta go with my girl Lisa.
I was either gonna say that or Rosé.
No, honestly, it would be for me. It's Lisa or Jennie.
Okay.
Yeah. I do love Rosé though, but no, Lisa and Jennie give me everything.
Okay, Rosé is mine. Okay. So guessing
on the ground.
On the ground. Everything we need is on the ground. So Jimin is your bias, obviously.
Yes.
Okay. Who's your bias record?
Jungkook.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, you and my sister are like here. Her bias is Jungkook. Her bias record is Jimin.
Oh, really? Yeah, just a little bit of a little flip flop there.
Flippy do there.
No, I mean, and Jungkook is so awesome, and like I love his vocal tone so much. Like I feel like that's another thing about the boys; they don't get respected a lot sometimes. People don't understand how talented they are and how good of singers they are.
1,000%.
And it's just like to see how hard he works and to see how talented he is, I just think he deserves to be a superstar. So they all are superstars, but I just see like Jungkook and his vocals and everything. I'm just like, that kid is working hard.
Right. Oh my God. He actually has given me faith in like music again. I know that sounds like a very lofty statement to say, but Jungkook is I mean, again, they all are. It's like, I think it was something that was missing for me here in Western music for a very long time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And getting back into that, you know, because I had gotten into Girls' Generation in like 2009. And I was like, what is this? This is crazy. There's like 86 of them, and like there's dancing and there's like colorful pants and like what's going on? And then didn't feel that way again until BTS. And Jungkook is one of those people who was meant for this. Like, I mean, like he was put on this planet to do literally this. He's just good. He's just great at what he works hard to do it. This is what he loves. Like he just like, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but he shines so hard to me.
And what I was thinking as you're saying this is like, we probably both could do the same rant about each of them.
Of course.
About like what makes them great and what makes them interesting and unique. Mm-hmm. And that's what's so awesome is that you have these 7 completely different humans that all shine great in their own light. Yeah. And I just think it's awesome. And then Jimin is just perfection.
Oh, yeah. You're like, and
there's
then
just
Jimin,
like, and then there's just Jimin.
And then Jimin. No, they were definitely
just everything.
It was planned. Like I don't know who the hell planned to put BTS on this planet, and then all of a sudden, you know, it just like became what it is. But all of this was meant to be. And I think that's also, it was the most shocking feeling to me when I was like, this was all supposed to happen. And it's perfection. And it just is. And they've affected the planet in such a positive way. They will go down in history. They'll be written about. Marketing teams will study them to try to, you know, replicate that with their own art. We're already seeing it.
But I do think there's something to be said of like how many talented groups are rising from this.
Yes.
And it just shows how much hard work these groups do because there's so many talented groups. Mm-hmm. There's just like, and you watch and you're like, wow. Yeah. Like we just had pretty much Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Yeah, you had LFO and like Hanson and stuff.
Right.
But really killing it was Backstreet and NSYNC. But now in the K-pop world, there's just so many talented groups.
The doors have been opened.
And I think that's crazy.
Oh, I think oh my God. I think we live in such a special time for this. Like it wouldn't have happened unless all of these things came together the way that they did so perfectly. And BTS, their success has opened a lot of doors for a lot of other groups to be able to come here and do the same things. And now we're seeing like groups like Monsta X and ATEEZ. ATEEZ sold out 2 nights at the Forum.
Yeah, that was huge.
How? That's so huge. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, Twice is this week.
Yeah, Twice. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Twice is coming. And again, the same thing. They have 3 nights at the Forum.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I mean, I love it though. I love it. I love going. I mean, I'm a fan. And like I said, I learned so much. I started with Blackpink and BTS, but now I love Super M. I love 17.
Oh yeah.
Monsta
Super
X.
M. Oh my God.
Oh my God. No, I love those guys. And it's just like, I don't know. It's a beautiful thing and it's great and it's just interesting. It'll be interesting to see how Western culture and how the music industry continues to handle K-pop.
1000%.
Because like right now, like you said, it's kind of, sometimes it's looked at as like, oh, it's not cool. But then they're realizing like, wait, this has a lot of fan base, a lot of power.
A lot of
power.
So
it's interesting to see how the industry is going to handle it. I'm also going to go on the record again to say, they need to give the boys a Grammy. Butter deserves. I mean, Dynamite should have got it. I'm nervous.
Yes.
Dynamite should have got it. As I've already said on this podcast, one of the greatest pop songs ever written. This year, I'm nervous. I think Butter deserves it. But when you're nominated against, for me, the one that worries me is SZA and Doja.
Yeah, because I will say that Doja definitely deserves any awards that she gets for any of the music that she's put out over the past 3 years, to be honest with you.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, you're right. I think
I'm like so nervous. That's the only Grammy category I'm like stressed about. Everybody else, I'm like, win whatever you want.
Yeah.
But can we please let BTS win?
I think they should have won a Grammy for Black Swan, to be realsies with you.
Well, I mean, come on.
Right, for On, again, to be realsies with you.
But they got really their nomination finally.
Yes, they did. But I'm worried as much as you are. Like that's been a topic of discussion in many, K-pop circles and industry circles as well. Do you think wholeheartedly, and like give me your honest answer and everything, that the Western industry is trying to keep them out of these spaces?
Interesting question. It's a really good question. I don't think that the industry's trying to keep them out of spaces, but I do think they don't want to award them the way they deserve to be awarded because it could seem like pandering. I feel like they don't respect the music enough to feel like they deserve the award. So they feel like to give them award would be like, as even the Army accuses sometimes, they just put them on the show because they want ratings.
Right.
Or, they were doing this just to get us excited.
Right.
And that cheapens it.
Right.
So I think that is the like underlying issue with like K-pop, specifically BTS, and kind of these like industry spaces.
Yes, that is, I agree. And it's very unfortunate. And I definitely see a lot of the pandering comments. I mean, that's a big topic of discussion on Twitter, especially when they end up on Corden or Jimmy Fallon or something for, the umpteenth time, or they're put onto an award show and not actually given an award on the show and things like that. I think it's a worthy
Which, by
conversation.
the way, it was great to see them awarded great at the AMAs.
Yes.
I thought that was amazing.
Oh my God. And that was such a great week as well. So like,
such an iconic
that whole
week.
thing was, oh my God.
Would love to relive it again.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time and just live that week again,
know.
greatness.
That whole month, honestly, was a great month.
A time to be alive.
And
I remember tweeting before like that it started, like I was grasping. I'm like, wait, so there's the AMAs.
Yeah.
There's 4 concerts at SoFi. And there's Jingle Ball.
Yes.
I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
This is going to be a lot.
And
then it happened, and it was a lot, and it was everything.
It was a lot. Not only that, but a whole bunch of other K-pop artists were in town for 88 Rising as well. It was like literally all around that time. And I remember, do you know a restaurant called Inner Crew?
No.
So there's a restaurant called Inner Crew, and it's owned by a lot of like 3 guys, and 2 of them I think happen to be in Far East Movement, like the guys who are
okay.
So it's run by obviously people in the industry, in the Asian like music industry type space. So a lot of these people will end up at Inner Crew, like especially on weekends or weeks like this. And so my friends and I would end up there as well, because we a lot of PR people in K-pop and a lot of people who work in that area. And I remember one night, it was so random. I had been sitting there eating with a friend, and then for some reason we saw like a K-pop idol walk in. And it wasn't BTS, but K-pop idol walk in. He goes upstairs, whatever. We were like, okay, so tonight's about to be a great night. That's strange, like whatever. Go upstairs. More K-pop idols show up. And so we're like, all right, so this is what's happening. Like, that's amazing. And yeah, it was the spot. But again, since we know people in the industry, like we're sitting here talking to like other PR people and like people who are on teams. And we had an artist in town, Sean, he has a song called Way Back Home that got really big in 2018. We're close friends with him. And so we're all just standing around hanging out, whatever. And happened to talk to the first K-pop idol that walked in, which I'm not going to drop any names. So I'm sorry, we're not going to do names. But he was the one who was like, yeah, so Suga was here 2 nights ago.
What?
Yeah, and I was like,
oh my God. And I kept saying that all week. I was like, please don't let me run into these boys in the streets.
Yes.
I was like, I cannot be like picking up my coffee and see freaking J-Hope. I will die.
So that definitely, and so like me and a friend of mine, we looked at each other, we were like, oh wow, like that's insane, like that he would even come to a space like this, because it's a restaurant, there's like a bar upstairs.
But
and
also you got to think about, again too, back to what we were discussing earlier, they don't probably even think that the American culture will go crazy over them, or like I'm sure how they would feel if they're in Seoul or whatever. Like there might be, I mean, I'm sure they know Army will recognize them, but it's probably not as bad for them.
No, it's not, and which is a great thing. And so that's what it was. He was just like kind of offhandedly saying like, I guess Suga had asked him, where is some place I can go for a drink that's not going to be crazy. And ended up at Inner Crew. And it's crazy that it's like such a near miss in that situation. Oh, it's great. The food's amazing too. Yeah, they're amazing. It's owned by some great guys. But even it's funny because they went on record, Dumbfounded. He's in the K space as well. Hip hop and is way back, decades in the industry, and people know him from that space as well. But he has his own podcast, and the guy, I guess, who had leaked the picture of Suga and Anderson .Paak from that night spoke on it, and he accidentally, I guess he posted the picture of them from that night, not knowing that he shouldn't have.
Oh, he didn't, yeah.
And that's how that whole thing went viral or whatever. We had no idea any of this had happened. So it was such a random thing. That whole month was moments of like either near misses or running into other idols or having other people from the industry just around. I will forever think that was
crazy.
And
that is when I had my biggest army moment, my viral moment.
Oh, yeah.
Was because I was doing a live stream earlier that day from the AMA's carpet. And I was like with my coworker Tiffany and BTS came up and she was like, oh, like imagine if we see Jimin on the red carpet later. And I was like, naturally, I was like, oh my God, I won't be able to handle that. Oh my God. And then literally like I posted the video or somebody like screen grabbed it and posted that and everybody was like, oh my God, can you imagine if this guy actually met Jimin? And then literally later that evening, I finally met Jimin in person. And I met all the guys and I took a really cool photo. They were so nice and they remembered me because I've interviewed them a couple times through Billboard, but always on Zoom. I had never actually met them in person.
Yeah, okay, wow.
So it was my first time meeting him in person and I got to dap everybody up and hug Jimin and it was like crazy.
Jimin looks like a doll, doesn't he? He looks like
they all just look like, where did these perfect humans come from?
Because I remember I was on the floor and when they like come by on the little thingamajig, whatever. So I'm looking up at him and like, I remember I took a video and Blair and I, my sister and I looked at each other and we were like, Jimin doesn't look like a real person. Like he's so perfect.
You want me to tell you what had me shook about Jimin?
What?
Was actually rehearsal.
Okay.
Because I got to go in rehearsal and I couldn't talk about it that week, but now I can obviously. And I didn't know that I was going to go in rehearsal. Wow. I was there for red carpet rehearsal for the live stream. And one of my friends, I won't put him on blast, that works in production, was like walking me to an area because he has credentials. And I noticed he stopped and like he was waiting on something. I was like, what's going on? And then he like flashed his credential to the security guard and was like, I'm bringing him in here. And he didn't warn me. So then I just walk in and there are all the boys in like their sweats and just like.
Butter heart? Was the butter heart down?
Oh yeah.
Because I was in there the day before. I saw the Silk Sonic performance.
Oh yeah.
And we saw the heart and I was like, stop.
Oh my God. So I'm sitting there like trying to be professional.
Right.
We always are in this situation where we're like fangirling or boying, but also trying to be professional. So I'm like, okay.
Because we're very professional people.
Okay. And then like BTS starts performing and I'm like, okay, I'm just watching BTS live in an empty room. Okay, this is crazy. And then I finally I'm getting into it and I'm trying like not to dance, but I'm like dancing and you can see the security like, is this guy dancing? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a little into it.
Right.
But then Jimin gave me the most crisp, clear live vocals, like because obviously the mix is different because the crowd isn't there. So I could hear everything they were singing perfectly. And when he started doing his ad-libs at the end, I was in the grave. I think I ascended, came back down. It was one of the best moments of my life.
It's one of those moments that like just it makes you feel like your past career, everything you've done to get to that one moment. Yeah, it's just like it was
this
all
moment,
worth it.
It was worth it for this.
We have them so few and far between, but I feel like when it happens, it's such a beautiful moment. I can only imagine how you felt. Like I can only imagine how you felt.
Question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of being a professional, are you a member of the Academy yet?
No.
I've been thinking about applying. I know there's like criteria.
Oh God!
But I think you probably fit it too. We both, I'm sure, fit the criteria. But once you apply and I think you pay or whatever, then you get to vote. And I've been telling myself I can't compein about the Grammy nominations every year when I'm not voting.
Well, then you need to do that ASAP. And so I feel like 1,000%.
All I was just thinking in my head was like, I gotta vote for Butter.
Well, yeah, like you can make a difference.
I can make a difference
here. You can make a real difference.